Hi, I'm Heather with Busy Bee Batiks, and I just want to welcome you and let you know that today I am going to be doing a fun tutorial and showing you how to make beeswax wraps. So I got this idea off of Pinterest, and if you look on Pinterest and look it up, I'm sure you can find other examples, but today I'm going to be your test kitchen. So the first thing I want to show you is a list of things that you will need. Okay, these are the materials that you are going to need to make the beeswax wraps. You're going to need an iron, zigzag pinking shears, 100% natural cotton fabric, a grater, beeswax. This beeswax already has the jojoba oil, the pine tree resin, and also has coconut oil that's in with the bar, so you don't have to worry about adding that. And then last but not least, parchment paper. Okay, I apologize for mispronouncing. Jojoba is how you pronounce it. It looks like jojoba or Jehovah, but it's jojoba. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your selected fabric. I'm going to be using these lovely batik fabrics from Busy Bee Batiks, and I also recommend that you don't use pieces larger than 12 inches. So the first thing you want to do is you want to iron your fabric to make sure you don't have any creases. That just makes it a lot easier, so that way you're not, you don't have creases in your final piece of waxed fabric. So let's go ahead and do that. Also, make sure that your setting is set at wool temperature, because you don't want to ruin your wool mat and you don't want to make a mess, because it will, otherwise the wax will just ooze everywhere. So we want to go ahead and press your fabric out really good and get any of these little stringies off here. We don't want that either. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. You want to have nice smooth fabric with no creases. Okay. All right, and when you get done, the final piece is going to look something like this. So the next thing you want to do is you want to get your parchment paper. I'm going to lay that down here. So yeah, as a reminder, you want to set the wool setting. Also, you want to make sure you put something underneath your mat so it doesn't ooze out. So we're going to go ahead and pick, I think, I'm going to just, actually, let's start over. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a round one so you can kind of see how I do it. I'm going to use this bowl right here as a pattern. So any kind of, you can use a round plate if you want. I'm just going to set this on here, and then I'm going to use a rotor cutter and just kind of go around it. That's all I'm going to do. If you can kind of see how I'm doing that. Oops. So yeah, this is my first tutorial, so be patient with me. But yeah, you'll eventually get the whole thing kind of cut out with this thing. So oop, almost got the rest. Gotta cut this part out. Okay, perfect. And voila, look what you got there. So now that you've got this lovely piece, I'm gonna go ahead and trim off this little extra right here that I made a mistake on. There we go. All right, so the other thing you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be using your zigzag to cut again after you get done waxing it. So don't worry about, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. All right, I'm gonna move my mat out of the way. Just put that there. I'm going to put my wool mat back and the wax paper. So earlier I was showing you the material list with the beeswax mix. And another way of doing it is just using beeswax pellets and actually getting the resin and also getting the jojoba oil. That seems to be, might be actually a little bit more helpful. I had my husband grating it today, and yeah, it's a little sticky because of the pine resin. So it really made the grater really kind of gummy. But so he eventually resorted to using a chisel. So which that was kind of interesting, and he ended up stabbing his thumb. So make sure you wear safety gloves too. So, but yeah, let's go back to this. I got my fabric cut out here. So you want to lay your batik fabric down, and then you want to kind of gently scatter the wax that you've grated out. And so you don't have to put it all on the edges, because once you start melting it, it's kind of going to go towards the edges. So we want to sprinkle that around, trying to keep it from clumping too much. Oh goodness. The resin really makes it sticky, so just be prepared. You'll want to scrub your nails when you're done. It is sticky, and I think that's why it was sticking to the grater. So if you choose to grate this stuff and do an all-in-one, which is a pretty efficient, but yeah, use a dollar store grater. So I think that's probably enough. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this over the top. I'm going to put it in the opposite direction. There we go. And then yeah, so we're going to try it this way. Like I said before, you might try purchasing the pellets because they're already all ground up, but we've already gone through the process of grating it. So we're going to use these. And you can kind of see how it starts to melt underneath here. And it'll start going towards the edges. And as you go toward the edges, I also learned that by kind of lifting up the edge as I'm pushing it, it'll keep it from kind of squirting everywhere. So yeah, you want it to just go on to the fabric really good. So that's why if you use an old towel, that's probably pretty helpful too. Yeah, you can kind of see it starting to kind of ooze out. Get over here in the corners. So yeah, today you can use me as a test kitchen, so we'll see how it goes. This is on the fly, learning how to do this. I think I got it all. All right, that looks pretty darn good. I think I got it. Okay, so now that you have that, we're going to just kind of peel it away while it's hot. There you go. And then you can kind of see the finished product here, and it's, yeah, that's all the extra wax, but you can see how it kind of oozes out. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this off and peel it. There you go. And you can see I got it on both sides pretty good. So, well, it looks like there's a little bit there. So I'm going to just kind of use this again and just kind of go over the top a little bit. Just real quick. Just kind of really melt that in there. There you go. That looks pretty good. And then you'll want to transfer this to a cool rack, which I have right here. And once that's nice and cool, then you can cut it with your pinking shears or your rotary cutter with pinking shears on it. So I'm going to show you an example of one that, let's move this wrap out of the way. I'm just only doing the one today because, yeah, I don't want to make a big mess here. So I've already cut some of the edges on one, and I'm going to cut the other right here. This has already been cooled and dry. I had to do a pre-one first, so just for time's sake, you guys, I'm sure, have plenty to do. So, but this is really a fun project for Christmas or a birthday gift. Plus, it's great for the environment. So I'm just going to take this rotary cutter and just trim off this extra edge. Oh, actually, I need the, where's my cutting board? I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to cut my wool pad. So here you go. Just bring this back down. So you just zip right through it and peels right off. There you go. And voila, you have this lovely piece of wax wrap, just like this. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that beautiful? It looks great. And what you can use these for is, I'm going to show you an example of that too, is this this lovely glass. I brought in a Pyrex glass so you can kind of see. And here is one of the finished ones I showed you earlier. And what you want to do is you can just lay it on whatever food you have, and you fold and on the sides and just kind of wrap it around real good. You can kind of see. There you go. And the heat from your hands will kind of make it form around the container real good. But this is really handy because you don't have to use plastic wrap. You can actually use your beeswax. And then to make sure that you don't melt your beeswax, don't use hot water. Rinse it in cold water to wash it. All the materials that I use today were food grade, so yeah, just clean it with cold water. You can gently scrub it, but if you use hot heat, you're going to be melting the beeswax off. So I guess this is what they did a long time ago to preserve food, but I mean, it's kind of a good idea because you really are not wasting wax paper or throwing, you know, paper and stuff into the landfill. So yeah, isn't that cool? So that's going to be today's show, and thanks again. Please tune in on Thursdays, except Thanksgiving Thursdays and holiday Thursdays. But regularly Thursdays, we are going to be having live shows where you can purchase beautiful batik fabrics and buy all kinds of fun jelly rolls and fat quarters. And yeah, you can see the whole line of our collections. So see you then.